Hello again. I thought I'll just give you a short update of my 911 ownership. My latest discovery was to find out that the steering rack was leaking, which was kind of obvious since the pump was gone, that the pump must have run dry and leaking. So I got the bolts off here, but I kind of hammered out the bolt here, so I managed to ruin the bolt. So I have to get a new outer joint there, so it will fit. And I also ruined the brake shield, and I hammered here a little bit. So I need to get a new brake shield. I also found some bolts missing underneath here, so I replace those. The ducting and everything is pretty cool here and impressive, but I also found some very annoying things. I got the bolts and everything off here pretty easily. Even got to the knuckle bolt fairly easily, and here we go. So you can see that I got one of the house hoses out relatively easily, but the other one is completely seized to the steering rack, and I've tried everything I can think of and it will not come out. So read on the forums that it's fairly common that these actually seize to the rack. It's just extremely annoying, and just one more thing that this car is just disappointing. There's so many things that has gone wrong on this car, and during the ownership it has driven 130,000 kilometers, which is less than the Audi, and there are about 10 times as many things that has gone wrong on this car in its lifetime compared to the Audi. But hopefully I can get some help and get this last hose out so I can get the steering rack out and get it refurbished. Not sure if I don't think I've updated you on that, but I ended up getting a new battery, so that should not be a problem at least anymore. I still got the battery/generator warning light one time, which I was kind of disappointed to get because I was hoping that the problem would be just the battery. So now it looks like I need to replace the alternator regulator either way, which I've already bought, so that's luckily not a big expense. Hello again. New update on the Porsche. This has been extremely annoying. I finally managed to get out the biggest hose, but the smallest one was completely stuck. So after trying absolutely everything I could imagine, I was hammering on it. I bought a special pry tool, widened it out so it would fit around the hose, trying to hammer it out, buying different penetrating sprays. And then finally I was reading and I found out that if you can twist the hose, it's already ruined, and it was starting to look pretty beat up. So then I finally ended up just cutting it. So now I either have to just buy a new rack or get this out and send it for refurbishing. I might just end up buying a new one. I'm gonna see if this is an original Porsche part or if it's an aftermarket part. Then I'm gonna decide after that. So yeah, and I getting out with the hoses and everything in here was a super tight fit also. But now it's finally out, so I'm just waiting it for drying out a little bit, and then gonna take it completely out, have a little look to see how it looks, and then decide what to do. Alright, part is out. That took half a week. Originally, when I first saw the TRV logo, I thought that maybe this is already being replaced to a worse quality aftermarket part. But then I found the original Porsche part number, 996-347-01107. So it is an original Porsche part, which is good. Then I don't think I need to buy, or will buy, a new one, as long as I get to clean this on properly, and as long as the areas around these hoses are not damaged, and if I can get out the last one, obviously, which I'm not sure I will be able to do. I'm gonna try and twist it and pull it and see what happens, and then we'll see. But I'll try and keep this if possible, at least. I still have not been able to get out this last piece. I've manhandled it many times. As you can see, I've tried heating up, cutting it, pulling out, but it's completely stuck. And I came across a steering rack on eBay in the States with the part number 996-347-01110, which is one part newer and slightly upgraded, I hope. So I've got that part today. I'm gonna ship it to England, and they're gonna rebuild it and then ship it to me, and then I'll get a newer, completely rebuilt steering rack for the car. I'm also gonna buy new arms here, just because, well, I ruined one of them and they're relatively cheap, so I'm just gonna get new ones. And I found a solution on Renlist and some Facebook forums that you can buy racing parts, plugs that fit here, and then they have threads, so you can make an adapter and then attach hoses and use the original cables. I don't need to replace the entire cables or lines. And then I should be able to just put the bolts on my existing lines and buy those racing adapters here, and then I actually should have everything that I need to put this back. So I'll get an upgraded steering rack with upgraded bolts that will not seize, and I can easily get the lines on and off if I should need to. I get new arms, and the whole steering rack should be better than ever before. So what's left now? I've already cut the one line, as you can see here, and which was 8mm, which is standard size, and I thought the other one was 11mm, but I need to cut it and to make sure I can squeeze this on, which should be 10 or 12, and make sure it's metric so I can get the connectors on. So that's what I'm gonna do next. Cut the biggest line, even though it maybe could have been usable, and then make sure that could fit. I also got my winter tires sent today. They are studded tires, And they're absolutely enormous. I don't think I've ever seen bigger studded tires before, which is kind of ridiculous. And you can see that all the studs on the inside are gone, which is not good, but that's how the rims looks. 997 replicas in pretty horrible condition, at least, but they'll do they'll be just fine. So now get underneath the car, cut the lines, and then we'll see. Alright, my preferred tool for a job is a Dremel. Very practical. There is the plug that I cut off, and I'm gonna try and show you how I did it. You can see that there's a zip tie up there. So I zip tied the lines so they're stuck and even. I turn on the Dremel with one hand, cut with the other, and got some nice clean cuts. That should be perfect. I'm gonna file them and make sure they're perfectly straight also, but I think they ended up looking very good. Always use safety goggles. And here's the, oh, interesting. This is probably the, I saw that one line was the return line and one was the opposite, whatever that's called. This was the one that went in there. So the return line actually has a stopper in it, while the feeding line does not. Interesting. Alright, then I should be able to tell if this could fit, and it does not look like it does. Well, I'll do some more measurements, but maybe it's 12 millimeters. I can check more closely now. Just a quick update. I ordered a new steering rack, and it's on the way to England now to be refurbished before it's shipped here to Norway again. I thought I should try and get out the stuck plug from the steering rack, just to show you how stuck it actually was. This is the first time I've been able to move it at all, and I had to use this long thing. Now I can barely move it, and you're supposed to be able to just pull it out by hand. It's pretty ridiculous. Alright, half an hour of hammering and using this later. Managed to bash it in here after drilling out the rest of the tip, and you can see how completely ruined this plug is. Can't believe how hard this actually was stuck in there. My only concern is that there seems to have been a vent in here to stop the backflow, and looking at my new plugs here, there are no vents inside. So I'm gonna have to figure out if that's something I have to think about. Well, either way, finally got it out.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.